So in this section we're going to be talking about rational exponents, and that means that we're uh, doing a combination of exponent laws with fractions, which I'm sure you're going to love. The formula for it, I'm going to show the formula first and then why this makes sense, is if I have something it's a to the power of x over y, well, the y here is the one that's making it a fraction. So that becomes some sort of a root. We usually like to say square root, but it could be square root, which is a 2, or a third root, or a fourth root, etc. And then your answer then is taken to the power of x. Okay? We could also do it the other way around. We could say is a to the power of x, and then we do the root. But it's much more preferable to do it this way because it keeps the numbers down. So the first thing that we need to look at is what does something like the third root of 8, what is that? So let's start with something that we do know. So if we say, what is this square root of 9? Really we mean the square root, and the 2 goes over here, but we don't usually write it. What is the square root? Well, we're looking for a number that multiplied itself twice gives us 9. So I'm going to try 2 and 2. 2 times 2 is 4. That obviously doesn't work. So now I'm going to try 3 times 3. 3 times 3, that gives us 9, because 3 squared is equal to 9. Therefore the answer for us is this square root of 9 is actually 3. Does that kind of make sense? So let's see if we go, oh, by the way, look at this symbol, no calculators. We could plug this into the calculator and give us the answer, and I'll show you how that is done. But for the quiz, we're going to be doing no calculators, so you got to do this in your head. I know, but bear with me, it's going to be not that bad. What is the third root of 8? So I need a number that multiplied itself 3 times. I'm going to start with 2. So 2 times 2 times 2. Does that give me 8? Well, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So yes, 2 to the power of 3 is actually equal to 8. Therefore, the third root of 8 is equal to 2. It's kind of like if I take the root over to the other side, or the power to the other side, it becomes a root. So we're going to say that 3, take it over, and the square root of 9 is 3. Or here, if I take the 3 over to the other side, it's going to become that 2 is equal to the third root of 8. And that's how we get this answer. This that we're doing with the fingers and on the right side, we just do it in our heads. So what's the fourth root of 256? Well, let's check. I'm going to go 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. That didn't work. So let's try 3. So if I said 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. That doesn't work either. So let's try 4. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. 4 times 64, well, that is going to be 256. Now, you probably can't do this in your head, and I don't expect you to do it, because I'm going to keep the number small, but then we figure out that 4 to the power of 4 is equal to 256. Therefore, the fourth root of 256 is actually 4. The fourth root of 256 is actually 4. I hope that makes sense. But let's do some numbers with the rule. So if I have a to the x divided by y, the y is the root, and the x on top is the normal to the power of. So how are we going to do this? 16 to the power of 3 over 4, that means it's the fourth root of 16, fourth root, and then the answer, I take it to the power of 3. Okay, it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, because it's the fourth root, so I need 4 fingers. So give me 16. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. That's the answer. So the fourth root of 16 is 2. And I just say 2 to the power of 3. Well, 2 to the power of 3 is 2 times 2 times 2. And 2 to the power of 3, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And therefore that's our answer for this question. Not so bad, right? Okay, you give this a try on your own. Stop the video and I'll do it right away. Okay, so we know that the first step is to do a root of negative 64. And then it's the third root, because there's a 3 right there. Right? And the answer is to the power of 2. Okay, what number multiplied by itself 3 times gives us 64? I can try 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. That doesn't work. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. That doesn't work. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So this must be minus 4, minus 4, and minus 4. Why minus? Because I wanted my answer to be 64. So therefore, the third root of negative 64 is negative 4. And now I square it. Well, that just means minus 4 times minus 4. Well, minus 4 times minus 4 is positive 16. And that is your answer. Okay, last example is going to be a little more complicated. And let's check it out. So it's 0.008. I can rewrite that 0.08 as 8 divided by 1,000. How do I know it's 1,000? Because it's 1, 2, 3 spots. So that's 1, 2, 3 zeros. Now, there's the 3 here, so I know that that's the root. So I'm going to do the third root, and then my answer, whatever it is, to the power of 4. Okay, remember that the exponent rule is what you do the top, you do the bottom. So this is the third root of 8 and the third root of 1,000, which actually is going to be fairly straightforward, because I need a number that multiplies itself 3 times, gives me 8. So 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. So therefore the third root of 8 is 2. And now a number that multiplies by itself 3 times gives us 1,000. And that's easy too, because it's 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 gives me 100. 100 times 10 gives me 1,000. So this is 2 over 10. And that's the answer for the inside. And then we just take it to the power of 4. And well, 2 over 10 can be simplified as 1 over 5, right? I divide both of them by 2. So now I got 1 to the power of 4 and 5 to the power of 4. So 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 gives me still 1. And now 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. 125 times 5 is 625. Now that would be pretty hard to do without a calculator if you're not used to this, so it will not get this big, but just so you follow it. So our answer is 1 over 625. Okay, so that's probably the hardest example we'll do, and I'll show you now. Again, on the quiz we will not be using the calculator, but in class, how do you check with the calculator? So there's different buttons for the root. You got look like this, or x to the 1 over y. But I really just use the exponent button to the power of, and I just put a fraction is just a number divided by another. So this one, 0.008 to the power of 4 over 3, the one we just did, I would plug in bracket 0.008 close bracket to the power of, open bracket, 4 divided by 3. And the answer is 0.0016. Now we got 1 over 625, so you plug that into your calculator, 1 divided by 625, you're going to find out that it's the same answer, 0.0016. And then we know that we got it right. This one was kind of interesting because when I plugged in negative 64 to the power of 2 over 3, my calculator told me there was a math error. And I still don't know why it's the case, so I would have to do it in 2 steps. 64 to the 1/3 is basically negative 64 between brackets to the power of 1 divided by 3, because that's 1/3. It's 1 divided by 3. And it gives us the answer is minus 4. And therefore, negative 64 2 over 3, which is the one that we did, is negative 4 to the power of 2, which we know that it's 16, and that's what we got on the example 2. Now in the next video, I'll show you why this rule actually makes sense, the reason why that's the case.